In today's video, I am going to teach you how to add a slicer in Excel. A slicer is a simple visual way to filter information in Excel. Instead of using the regular filter drop-down menus, a slicer gives you clickable buttons that sit on top of your worksheet. This makes it much easier to filter a table or pivot table, especially when you want a clear and interactive dashboard-style layout. To begin, open the Excel workbook that contains the data you want to work with. You will need to already have either an Excel table or a pivot table set up, because slicers are designed to connect to structured data. Once your worksheet is open, click anywhere inside your existing table or pivot table. It does not matter which specific cell you choose, as long as the cell is part of the table or pivot table. This tells Excel which data range you want the slicer to connect to. After you click inside the data, look at the ribbon across the top of the Excel window. The available tabs may change depending on whether you selected a regular table or a pivot table. If you clicked inside a standard Excel table, you should see the Table Design tab appear. If you clicked inside a pivot table, you should see the Pivot Table Analyze tab appear. Click the tab that applies to your selected data. This tab contains the tools that let you manage and customize the table you are working with. Now that you are in the correct ribbon area, look for the Insert Slicer button. If you are working with a table, this button is usually found in the Tools group. If you are working with a pivot table, it is usually found in the Filter group. Click Insert Slicer. Excel will open a small window that lists the available fields or columns from your data. This window is where you choose what you want the slicer to filter by. You will see checkboxes next to the different column fields. For example, you might see categories such as Product, Region, Department, Date, Status, or any other column headings that exist in your data. Check the boxes for the specific fields you want to use as filters. You can select just one field if you only need one slicer, or you can choose multiple fields if you want several slicers at once. Once you have selected the field or fields you want, click the OK button. Excel will generate the slicer and place it on your worksheet as a floating box with buttons inside it. Each button represents one item from the field you selected. This is the interactive part of the slicer, and it is what makes filtering your data faster and more visual. After the slicer appears, you may want to adjust its size so it fits neatly on your worksheet. Click the slicer box once to select it. You should see handles around the edges and corners. Click and drag the corner handles to resize the slicer. You can make it wider, taller, smaller, or larger, depending on how many buttons are inside it and where you want it to sit on the sheet. Now you can begin using the slicer to filter your data. Click any button inside the slicer window, and Excel will instantly filter the connected table or pivot table based on that selection. The selected button will usually appear highlighted so you can clearly see which filter is currently active. This makes it easy to understand what data is being displayed. If you want to select more than one filter item at the same time, hold down the Control key on your keyboard while clicking additional buttons in the slicer. This allows you to include multiple items in the filter instead of being limited to only one. As you select more buttons, the data updates to show all matching records. When you are ready to remove the filter and return to the full data view, look at the top right corner of the slicer. Click the Clear Filter icon, which looks like a small filter symbol with a red X. This resets the slicer and clears the current selection, so your table or pivot table shows all of the data again. That covers everything you need to know. You have now added a slicer in Excel, resized it, used it to filter data, selected multiple items, and cleared the filter when needed.